Hello and welcome back. This is Dave Jackson for the Trader's Winning Edge software package training video. In this fourth installment, we will be going over the first of the trade signals, and the trade signal is called the BR signal. And of course, the first thing we need to do is to go over the disclaimer statement. First one is risk disclosure, and just some highlights. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Trading involves substantial risk. Only trade money you can afford to lose. No one can guarantee profits or freedom from loss. The next panel is the U.S. government required disclaimer. Trading has large potential rewards and large potential risks. Don't trade money you can't afford to lose, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Now we have up that all-important CFTC Rule 4.41. Simulated results do not represent actual trading. Simulated trading programs have the benefit of hindsight. And the last one, substantial risk is involved, and you must be willing to accept this risk. Again, don't trade money you can't afford to lose, and no offer is being made in this video to buy or sell futures, options, stocks, or ETFs. And I appreciate your patience as we go through this necessary part. All right, we have a crude oil chart up. This happens to be a 5-2. Nothing special about that. In fact, nothing special about the crude oil market. It's just an example. And we will be going over this BR signal. I want to explain a little bit about what does BR mean, first of all. The BR actually stands for bottle rocket. And some time ago, the Felton group decided that these little candles with the wicks kind of looked like bottle rockets. So this BR signal will potentially form at any candle that has a wick. So it's easy to see the big long wicks, but even a little one tick wick, that counts too. And so does that one, so does that one. So as you look through this chart, there's a whole lot of candles that have these wicks. And what I'm about to do is turn on the BR signal. Now, and I want to warn you, when I first turn this on, this chart's going to look rather messy and useless. But I want you to see just where these BR signals form. Then we're going to get into the real value of any of these signals is how we filter the signals. So let's just get this turned on. Scroll down a little bit here, and here it says BR settings, show BR signals as false right now. We're going to turn that to true and say OK. And like I said, I want to warn you, they're going to be everywhere. And then we'll really do the work of this video. And here we go. One interesting thing with these, again, here they are everywhere, completely useless in this state. But you'll notice that we've got our SAR line. Okay, this is the far SAR line. It's actually from the last video when we went over this. It will always come up when you show the BR signal because it's programmed into the signal in this package. So just be aware of that. But as you can see, if you look, sure enough, every little bar that has a little tiny wick has a BR signal. And as I say, in this state, pretty useless. So let's go ahead and get into how we're really going to use these things. And I'm going to slide this chart along. We'll come to another little section here, which is filtering the BR signals. In the upcoming videos on the ZR and the SQ signals, the same will be true. The value of the signal is how we filter them. So the first filter, there's 5 of them, we're going to look at is the far SAR trend line cross. So let's bring that up. And all we're going to do is go back. And we're going to go into the stop and reverse settings. And where it says show far line, well, that's defaulted when we show the BR signals. But we're going to show the vertical far cross trend line. So we're going to show that. And I'm just going to say OK for now. That's the first step. So now we've got these lines. And again, these lines simply show up. If you look at the red line here, the first bar to close past that SAR line right there, you're going to get that red line. And remember, it does have an audio. Okay, now let's go back into indicators. Now we'll go down to the BR settings. And right here at the bottom, it's actually the last one, but we're going to deal with it first. And it says BRs in SAR far cross direction only. So now we're only going to see ones that are in that. So I'm going to turn that to true. And I want you to notice we get rid of all the counter trend signals. So all of a sudden they're gone. Now it's starting to go a little more useful. So here's kind of the typical setup. We get a downtrend started, we get a first pullback, we get a signal, we get in. So now notice the green line, we only have ones going up, red line only ones going down. So that is that first filter. And let's just scroll around a little bit. We'll come back to our list here in just a moment. But you can see in this entire area with the green line, we only had signals to the upside. Now, am I saying I like every one of those signals where they are? No, but remember, this is one of 5 filters we can apply. And we're going to scroll back just a bit more, and you get an idea. Now, here's a 1030, probably a report going off. But again, notice we only had long signals in this entire zone. And that's true wherever we look. Now you'll say, hey, we didn't get any signals. What happened? Well, let's take a look. Here's that red line coming down. Were there any wicks on any of these bars for a down signal? No. The only wick we got was for an up signal. But we're only accepting down signals during this. So that's how that first filter works. Let's scroll back to our list. There it is. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is the maximum distance from the opposing bar. And this is one that you're going to play around with a little bit. You may have some decisions to make here. What this has to do with, this maximum distance from opposing bar. The opposing bar, if we look at this down signal, the opposing bar was a green bar. So in this case, it was only 1. But this one down here is, I don't know, 8 or 9 bars away from it. This little one down here is a whole bunch of bars away from that last opposing signal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this maximum distance from the opposing bar actually to 1. So we're going to say, no, I want to see a little bit of a pullback here before we see this. So let's open up the indicator. We'll go down to the BR settings, and we're going to find this. Now it's a little confusing because there's 2 of them that say max and 2 of them that say min. So we want maximum distance from opposing bar, and right now it's just this ridiculously huge number. So we're going to take that down to 1. And now let's see what that does for us. Close that. Well, that cleaned up things a lot. Notice that this red bar is 1 away from the green bar. Well, this one wasn't, this one wasn't. So let's scroll back again. And let's just see. So all of a sudden we've really started eliminating a lot of these signals. And again, you can see we get some runs where we get no signals at all. There wasn't a pullback. And we go on. Doesn't look much different here. Yeah, that congested area with the report. And again, we're very few signals now. But we're not done. So let's go back. And I'm going to leave that one in for us. The next one we're going to look at is maximum ticks to the far SAR line. Well, what in the heck is that? If you notice, that bar went up to here and pulled back, and the far SAR line is way up here. And that might be 6 or 7 ticks away. I'm just guessing. But you notice that one's closer. And you notice that one's a little closer. Well, that one's pretty far away. So we're gonna put a number in that. This is one of those numbers that's going to take some back testing. So right now, maximum ticks to the far SAR line, and I started out with a ridiculously huge number. Let's just put in 6. Let's see what that did. Well, now we've got even fewer signals. So the signal that was right here, apparently that was more than 6, so it went away. Again, this is something that takes a lot of back testing and looking at. How many signals do you want? I want you to see something. We used to have a signal right there before we implemented this filter. Well, basically that pulled back again on you. And, did that do a little maybe ABC pattern right there? So we got that signal. And we bypassed a bunch of signals here. So, well, we only got 2 signals in this run, but they had a little better possibility. And let's go back a little bit. A lot fewer signals now. Well, here's a little bigger run. So sure enough, we came within 6 ticks here. We got a signal. One up. Now, the other use of these SAR lines are, it makes for a pretty nice trailing stop. You get in here with a runner, and you're just trailing, 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 trailing. You get out way up here. So pretty nice little trailing. Oh, you might have gotten stopped out right here too. But you can see we've really cut back on the number of signals now. And now you really do have to scroll back quite a ways to see many signals. Now you may decide, gosh darn it, I really wanted to have that signal there. It was the closest one to that trend reversal line right there. So you can certainly adjust that number in terms of how many ticks away you want to take signals. You can set it to whatever you want. Did this one work out okay? That was the first pullback. We got that one. How about that one? And let's see, was this in the middle of the night? No, it was just after 11 o'clock. So we got our uptrend started, first pullback, got our BR signal, and okay, well, let's trail those dots. And we trailed, and we trailed, and we trailed, all the way up to here. So I don't know how many ticks that is, but it's a lot. So that is the filter about the max number of ticks. This one got real close. And let me see, there's one example I would like to show you if I can find one. Here's one right here. Remember, this maximum ticks, it's maximum, not minimum. This price came down and touched that line, but notice how it probed beneath it. But it did not close beneath it. So you still got a signal. So that's a key thing. So sometimes this price will come down and you'll get this wick come way down here and you'll still get a signal. And those are, I will tell you from experience, those are really nice signals when that happens. And there's one where the wick came right down and touched it. Now you got a little double signal here. And just a word about these double signals. You may think, well, if I went to a higher time frame, I'd only have one signal. I have tried all kinds of charts in terms of small time frame, medium time frame, huge time frames. You will never get out of this double signal that might trip you up a little bit. And that is due to what Jerry has talked about many times, and that is the fractal nature of the market. And very simply stated, no matter what time frame you're on, you're still going to get the same patterns. So this little pesky signal that forms, and then you get the better signal, doesn't make any difference what time frame you're on. You're still going to see some of these. So this comes down to more of a stop management issue. So I'm going to scroll forward back to our list and see if we can find it here. There we are. Okay, so that was the maximum ticks to the SAR FAR line. This next one I'm just going to explain. You can set this to say, I don't even want to see these signals when we're in the squeeze. Now, we're going to cover the squeeze in another video, but for now, just know that you can choose if the market gets very range bound. And of course, we had some range bound where that let's just say this was a range bound area. You can choose to say, I just don't want to see signals in range bound areas. So that's something that we will get into a little bit more when we get into the video on the squeeze. And the last part we want to get into is number 5, confirming with exponential moving averages. So let's go ahead and bring this up again. And you'll notice way down here, we've got a whole section of confirming EMA, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's actually 5 different moving averages you can choose from. And by the way, just so you know, these moving averages do not necessarily have to come from this host chart. And I will show you what I mean. So we've got a nice little feature built in here. I'm going to say true to that one. And that's going to be a 50 exponential moving average. And the offset is going to be 4 ticks. So that's 4 ticks plus or minus where the EMA is. And down here it says, what is the chart? Where is it coming from? Well, the host chart means the one we're looking at, or your trade chart or your trigger chart. However, it doesn't have to be that. You can set this up to be anything you want. So if you just happen to love a particular one, and let's take a look at number 5 because this is defaulted this way. So this is going to be a little different. This is going to be the same 50 period moving average, but not from the host chart. This is going to be from a 15 range bar chart. So we're going to put both of those up and take a look at those, but you do have 5 choices. You can make these EMAs anything you want. And down here, you will see that we've got confirming EMA 1 through 5, and this is in the plot section where you're going to pick out what color it is and whether you want it to be a dashed line or a solid and the point size. So, but for this demonstration, we'll just use a 50 from the host chart and a 50 from a 15 range bar chart. So let's go ahead and apply that. Okay, so now, in this case, the solid cyan line is the 50 from this chart, the 5-2 Renko Supreme chart, whereas this dashed dot dot line is a 50 EMA from a 15 range bar chart. Well, we just told it to, we only want these signals if we're within a certain distance. So this particular signal right here has to meet our little ATR dot criteria. It had to be 1 bar away from the bar of the opposite color, and it had to be within a certain range. I think it was 4 ticks was what the indicator was set for, from, and it can be plus or minus this 50 EMA. Now, if you've got 2 of these on, or if you've got all 5 of them on, do understand one thing, and that is these are all done on an or basis. In other words, if the price gets close to this one and all other criteria are met, it'll work on that one too. So we didn't want it to be, you require all 5. That wouldn't work out so good. So that these are always, any one of the 5 or 2 or however many you want to put on. Now, this one we'll need to scroll back a little bit just to see some examples. And here's the EMA. It's close enough to the dots. Got a signal. Didn't work out, but that's another story. And we go down here. This one worked out a little better. So now we only got 2 signals in this whole area. But you notice now how few signals we have. Now I can't help but to point something out. One of Jerry's favorite EMAs is always the 50. And you can see how the market does react to that. Well, when we do the video on the ZR signal, you're going to see where that really comes into play. So a little hint about using these BRs versus the ZRs, I'll tell you right now, is the BRs are going to be your smaller pullbacks, and the ZRs are going to be your larger pullbacks. So we go over here. There's one that met the criteria. Remember there, or when we originally put this up, there were little BR signals all over the place here. And you notice how far we got to scroll back to find examples. Okay, there's a little nicer trend. We got the signal, audio that hey, you just got a trend up. We came close enough to the ATR dots. We came close enough to the 50 EMA. We got a signal. Didn't happen again until right there. Got another signal, and here and here. But notice all of these other signals are gone. And that is how the BR signal works. And well, there's one that actually came close to both of the EMAs. Doesn't matter, one will do it. But that just happened to come close to both. And like I say, you just have to really scroll around. We've really restricted these BR signals with this. Here's another nice uptrend, and came close enough, met all the criteria, got 3 signals out of that one. This one came close enough to the SAR dots, not close enough to the EMA. So you can mix and match these. You do not have to use the EMAs at all. Don't have to use the SAR dots to filter at all. But a lot of versatility in this. There's some range-bound territory. And just as we look around, and just again notice very few signals. Nice little downtrend. We got a signal, and sure enough, it poked its way up there again. Came down, got another signal. The reason we didn't get the other BR signal here was too far from the moving average. Well, that's a pretty interesting how strong that is when both of those EMAs line up, and we were right to the ATR dot. Nice little trade. Okay, folks, that'll do it for this one. And let's just find where we were here. So we went over filtering the BR signal using the FAR SAR trendline cross, using the max distance from opposing bar, max ticks to the SAR FAR line. Talked a little bit about the no BRs and the squeeze, which we'll cover in the squeeze video. And we talked about the confirming EMAs. So again, hope you got something out of that video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.